friends, welcome back to Bucket List Homestead. My name is Lynn, and today I'm really excited. I am finally going to try to reactivate a dry, dehydrated sourdough starter that my wonderful friend Annie from Back to Basics graciously sent me some of hers. She named hers Hope. I'll tell you my name in a minute. And because apparently it's bad luck not to name your starter. And since I'm new at this, I need all the luck I can get. So we will be naming it. So Annie sent this to me. She also sent me a link to a video to show me what to do with it. I watched her video and I watched several other videos, and then I printed out actual instructions because I like a step-by-step thing in front of me, and I film on my phone and I can't always go back to my phone to look up what the recipe. So, okay. I've never done this before. Like I said, this is new. It's something I've always wanted to do, and as a goal I set for myself, I started it last year and I'm continuing into this year, into 2023. I try to do something new, something that I've been afraid to do, get out of my comfort zone and try it. One of the things I tried last year was pressure canning, and that turned out to be the best thing ever. I'm actually mad it took so long to do that. So I'm hoping sourdough is going to be one of those things I wish I'd done sooner. So as I said, I printed off, I made a template of all the different things I hope to accomplish this month. And as you can see, sourdough is down there in the corner. And we're going to get to it. We need pint size mason jar with a lid. Okay, I'm using a wide mouth, because I think it'll be easier to get it out of it when we need to put it into a bigger container. And I eventually have a bigger container that will be going. And I should say this is going to take over 5 days. This is a video. So I'm going to take you start to finish. I'm sure there's other people out there who are like me who have never done this. We're going to learn together and hopefully be successful. So we need this jar. We need a half a tablespoon of the sourdough starter, which I already have in here. Excuse me, half a tablespoon. I think I said teaspoon, half a tablespoon of dried sourdough starter, white bread flour or all-purpose flour. Make sure it's unbleached, whatever flour you're using. Mine is organic all-purpose flour. That's what I'm using, but just make sure it's unbleached. And lukewarm water. I've had room temperature water. I've had water sitting here. So, because if it's cold, it will kill it. And also don't use chlorine. Chlorinated. Don't use chlorinated water because that will also kill it too. So if you have tap water that has chlorine in it, use some spring, bottled water or filtered water. We're ready to go. I want to say too, the instructions that I am going by that I printed off is from Homestead and Chill, and I will leave the link down in the description box below. Her video was one of the ones I watched, and I'm actually going to use her recipe for the sourdough bread later once our sourdough is done. So I'll leave that link down in the description box for you all to find. Okay, we're ready to start. We have our sourdough starter in here, and we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of room temperature water. Okay, and we're going to let this sit for several minutes till this softens and dissolves a little bit. So this has been sitting for about 5 minutes, okay, and you can see it's like milky and it's very soft, okay, and I just gave that a quick little stir. Okay, now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of flour. Give it a stir. Mix it thoroughly. Okay. Put a lid on it. And the ideal location is 70 to 75 degrees, which just happens to be here in my kitchen. So I'm literally going to just leave it right here on my counter. I can't believe that's all there is to it. I put off doing this for so long because I thought it was going to be so much different than that. So we got to come back in 24 hours to feed it. And that is exactly the same as we did today. It will be 1 tablespoon of flour and 2 teaspoons of water. Mix well and cover. We'll come back in 24 hours. And the name of my starter is going to be Phoenix. And that's because I feel like that represents me. I feel like Phoenix represents the part of my life that I'm starting to feel like I'm coming into at my age. What makes me happy, what I want to do, trying new things, not being scared to try new things. If they fail, they fail. Goodness knows I failed a lot this past year on some of my things I tried, but I just keep trying. And so Phoenix is the name of our sourdough starter. We'll see you back here tomorrow when we feed it. Today is day 3 of feeding Phoenix, my sourdough starter. And it's the same as yesterday. It's 1 tablespoon of flour and 2 teaspoons of water. But I just wanted to tell you that something really exciting happened with it. I didn't get to see it because it happened in the middle of the night, but David happened to be up and he saw it. And he said, I don't know what's going on with your starter. Actually, he called it yeast. But he said that it got really, really big, but then it came back down and he thought, because it was cold, it was dying. So he put it near the dishwasher last night while it was running because it gets pretty warm over there. Because our house, we turn the heat down at night, and I have been worried that the house is too cool. It gets to around 68 ish Fahrenheit, but obviously it's doing okay. So as you can see on the glass here, it came all the way up to here. See it? And falling back down is normal because it just means it needs to be fed. But yeah, it came all the way up to here. So something's going, and I see a few bubbles in there again. So this is what it's looking like. Just gonna feed it, and we'll see you back here for day 4. Day 4, we change things up a bit. Day 4, and it's a little bit different today. Today we add a 1/3 cup of flour and a 1/4 cup of water. Lid on it. And I'm going to mark where the top of it is so we can see, hopefully, it rise. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I'm using a white, yeah. I'm just using a chalk marker so it will wipe off my jar. You see her? Okay. Don't know if you can see, but right there, I marked it. Fingers crossed she rises up. Scratch the white chalk. I just went over the white chalk with a Sharpie. I don't know what I'm thinking. It's very easy to get this off the glass. A magic eraser, boom, it'll be gone. So there we go. So we'll be able to see it better. Day 5 with my sourdough starter. And I'm gonna say I'm a little bit worried. It never went up last night at all yesterday. Well, that's not true. It looks like it may have went up a teeny tiny bit and fell back down. But I did check on it and it was full of bubbles a few hours in to adding this last feeding we did. So fingers crossed. Our house is not 70 degrees. My kitchen is 68. We don't have it up, and it hasn't been that cold. You know, luckily we haven't had to have the heat up that high. So I've been trying to keep it in the living room where it's a little bit warmer, but I'm really hoping the temperature is not having anything to do with it. So today we are moving it into our bigger jar. So I'm going to take this out and transfer it into the mixing bowl rather. I want to get all of it. we're going to add 1 scant cup of flour, and this is important. It's not a full cup, so we're going to do 1 scant cup, so it's not full. So 1 scant cup of flour and 1/2 cup of room temperature water. Mix thoroughly. And we're going to transfer it into our bigger jar. Without making a mess, which would be a miracle for me. Not too bad a mess. I'm just going to try and scrape down the sides here so I can see when it rises. Okay. Get a little bit on the rim. And we're going to cover it. And I set this aside again. And hopefully we start seeing it bubbling, rising, and falling. And I guess that's it for day 5. So this, she says, if we see it actively bubbling, rising, and falling, we have successfully restarted or rejuvenated, I guess, reactivated the sourdough starter. And when it's at its peak activity, when it stays elevated, that's when it is considered ready to bake with. So I'm hoping tomorrow, which would be day 6 since I started this, I can make some sourdough bread. Fingers crossed we see this thing go up and then back down a bit. Well, it hasn't grown, and it's almost 5 here. And I fed it around 9:30ish, 9:30ish, but that certainly looks like a lot of bubbles. So let's hope it rises through the evening here. So this did not rise hardly at all. Very, very, very little. And it's awfully soupy. And the troubleshooting notes say if you can pour it out, it's too runny. And that might be part of the problem. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of flour, 1 at a time, until I get the consistency I need. And we will hope that it is causing that. I also think it's too cold in my house, so I'm going to leave this in front of my fireplace. And we will even leave the fireplace, it's an electric fireplace, so we'll even leave it on at night. I think that's still probably too soupy, so we'll do another tablespoon. One more. That's better. All right, friends, let's hope it rises and it's working. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to start all over again with some more starter from it. Well, it hasn't grown, and it's almost 5 here, and I fed it around 9:30ish, 9:30ish, but that certainly looks like a lot of bubbles. So let's hope it rises through the evening here. Well, friends, it's not going well. It bubbled like really good. It was really, really bubbly, but it never, I don't want to say never, it rose in very, very small amount. Now, if I hadn't marked the original mark, which was right here, I never would have seen it. So what I did was I went online, did some sleuthing, and I saw where someone said to add 1 or 2 tablespoons of bread flour to it. So I've done that. I brought out my seedling mats because I think part of the problem is our house is just too cold. It's just too cold. We hover around 68, 70, and we all find it plenty warm enough. But apparently the sourdough starter doesn't. Got my seed mat. It is going to be sitting on here. If this doesn't work, I will start all over again. Well, I'm not ready to give up yet. I guess I'm too stubborn. But I reached out to Annie, and she said sometimes it can take 7 to 10 days of feeding for it to activate. So I just did another 2 tablespoons because it was still really runny. I added no water. Maybe that's wrong, but I added 2 tablespoons of bread flour, and that's what we have in here, if you can see that, and it's bubbling. So Today is day 7, so I guess I'll give it till at least day 10. Well, I was hoping when I wrapped up this video it would be a success. It has not been. This is my starter. It's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. Other than very bubbly, and that's not even bubbly anymore. It's just not, it's not doing what it's supposed to. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I really think my house was too cold. Even getting the seed mat out. I'm going to regroup. I reached out to Anny for advice. Even her advice hasn't helped. I'm going to regroup, talk to Anny some more. I have enough starter left, I believe, I hope. There's enough here that Anny sent me to start again, but I'm really considering not starting until it's warmer outside, so the inside will be warmer. I'm not sure what else to do. I'm really disappointed. I really, really am disappointed. Not just because it's a failure, because I fail at a lot of things. But this is something I really want to be successful at. One, I don't want to feel like I'm letting down my friend Anny, who sent me part of her starter. And I really was looking forward to start making homemade sourdough bread because it's healthier. And especially for someone like me who loves bread. And I hate keto bread. I hate it. I'm just saying out there, I've tried all kinds, and A, it's insanely expensive, and B, it's terrible. But at least sourdough would have given me, some better options when I did want bread. And it looks like it's not going to happen. So the next time you see me doing anything with sourdough, you'll know if I was successful the next time I try, because I will try sourdough bread. And I will film that for you all. So, if anybody has any advice for me, let me know down in the comments, please. I really thought I was doing everything right. I think the temperature in my house has a lot to do with it, because that is insanely important. And maybe the seed mat's too warm. I don't know. So let me know if you have any advice down in the comments. Let me know if you've tried this and you have not succeeded, so I don't feel so alone. Until then, folks, take care, God bless, and we'll see you in the next video.